Is this on?
Are we recording right now? I had some news for you, buddy boy. All right.
We're testing the mic.
Yeah, the poison for Cusco. Cusco's poison.
I'll admit,
poison I know how to kill Cusco.
this table looks bitchin'. Or like, it's like cluttered, but it's also functionable. It's like, do you want to read?
It's got a feng shui about it.
It's feng shui.
A feng shui.
Except for these. We gotta get rid of those. Either way.
No. Can't get rid of them now.
Dilly.
All right,
let's do it. Except we're responsible adults because I have to work tonight.
Go.
But either way, gently buzzed. Be episode 10, 9 or 10. We've done this 10 times. And
10 times.
Now, let's hook them.
All right. I'm going to get right to the point. I'm going to come at you hard. All right?
Hard as a rock.
Hard.
Cusco.
All right. Here's what we got going on for you today. If you ever want to talk about a little thing, I don't know, time travel, we're also going to talk about the craziest conspiracy that I have found recently. All right, now, you guys know me. I like to read and find weird shit.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know?
I do.
You know? Okay, good. Latest one now, Barron Trump, time traveler conspiracy.
The
Now,
little
I'm
one?
not saying I believe or don't believe it. I'm just saying this is like the craziest thing I've heard, and you guys gotta hear it.
Yeah, it is. And then,
It is insane.
so I was telling you earlier that a lot of that stuff I used to think was absolute, pardon my French, bullshit. Because, you give me.
Chase never cusses.
Then you know it's serious.
Can you guys star that? Can you guys
Then you know it's
save that?
serious.
He actually cussed on this date at 4:05. Chase cussed.
4 or 5. But yeah, so a lot of it I used to just watch just to kind of be like whether it was Joe Rogan or any other scientific podcasty stuff, it grabs my attention, and that's usually all it does. But then I was wondering, why are you storing all this useless information in your brain? And then it led up to this moment where you mentioned Barron Trump time travel, and I did this. I go, whatever. Trump, whatever.
Believe it. Okay.
Exactly. And then that rabbit holed into something called the Philadelphia Project, or experiment. And then that led to time travel, Nikola Tesla, early patents from the early 1900s. The military took them, used them, stored them away. And that also led me to something I haven't told you about before. That's another conspiracy in itself. We'll get to it later.
So stay tuned.
But I thought we'd start with some pop culture before we get into this deep topic of, you have something to say.
I do.
Go speak your truth.
All right. I'm just going to get right into it, guys. All right. In 1893, there was a book called Barron Trump, Marvelous Underground Adventures. And if you don't believe me, it's in the Library of Congress. What's cooler than that, right?
Like you can get this book, you can go to the
Library of Congress. Library of Congress. There was a book in 1893, not 1993, 1893, called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Adventures.
Does it go underground?
Yeah, Underground Adventures. And
no, you didn't.
Which has to do with our Barron Trump time traveler theory. All right, so I'm just going to give you the facts, right? Off the top of my head, here we go.
Well, before we start, where the hell did you hear this?
Where did I hear it? Okay, so my girlfriend, actually, shout out to Jessica, who never listens to
What
our
up,
show.
Jess?
Love you, babe. Yeah.
Hello, Jess.
That's for you. For those of you who don't know the inside joke, that was like my best move, I guess, in high school.
It didn't get any women.
Hey.
How does it?
Hey, I got plenty of women, okay?
Hey, it's sexy.
Believe it. All right. And you know what? Even if you got 3 threes you hitting on, they still make a 9. You know what I'm saying? Couple of 5s make a 10.
Cut it. Cut the episode. We're off the air.
Don't you put that in.
We're off the air.
I don't know why it was a move of mine, but it was. Okay, it worked. Believe it.
No.
Nobody else can be crispy enough, though, to pull that off.
All right, so Jess found it, huh?
Jess found it and showed it to me, and I'm like, what? She's like, oh, my God. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, Barron Trump time traveler conspiracy. I'm like, we got to talk about that on the show.
Yeah, we have to.
We have to. She found it on Facebook just scrolling around.
Damn.
Yeah. But I actually did a little research on the subject, and Bunch of weird coincidences. So that book was in 1893, right?
Yeah, go through
And
that
Chase
shit,
is going to insert a copy of the picture of Barron Trump right here next to the
I'll do some
picture
editing.
of Barron Trump in the book.
Can I do it? Guess we'll find out in the
And you
video.
can't tell me that they do not look identical.
It's uncanny.
The same hair swoop and everything. All right.
So that dude looked like he was a ghoul. He was wearing like a ghoul coat. He was like,
Oh, no. Part of his adventures, he travels to China.
So
He wears like an emperor's robe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't Barron mean that?
Barron?
King?
No, it's a title, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Continue.
Something like that, though.
Continue.
It means something fancy, right? Get off my ass. All right. So not only is that weird, but yeah, it takes place in Russia. It does. Now, who's Melania Trump? Where's she from? It's Donald Trump's wife, Barron's mother. For those of you not following along, she's from, you guessed it, Russia. She's some kind of Russian. I don't know the brevity of the whole.
Yeah, I knew she was
type of
Russian. I knew that. Yeah,
she is some
she
type of Russian thing. Okay, I don't know where at in Russia. I don't recall, but excuse my lack of political correctness. She's some kind of Russian. She's born
Russian.
there.
She's a Russian lady.
Yeah, I'm talking like moose and squirrel.
She's near Borat. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, we got. Oh, stand up. No, we're no longer doing that. We mostly broke ourselves of the habit of beating each other when we talk like Borat.
We have.
Watch Borat.
Okay, so the book came out.
The book came out in 1893. It's about a kid named Barron Trump.
Okay.
Who time travels.
Okay.
Kid looks just like the kid in the book. Takes place in Russia. Pretty weird, right? I mean, that could be coincidence. I could see that just being a thing. No, but who cares? All right. Here's where it gets weird. All right.
Here's where it gets weird.
His mentor in the books is named Don. All right. You still listening?
Common name, Don.
Don? Yeah, could be a common name. Coincidence. Don and Barron Trump is his mentor. Barron time travels. It's from Russia.
It works.
What typical kid doesn't do that? And the author of these books went from writing children's books about a time-traveling Barron Trump to his next book, 4 years later, the sequel, which is more of an adult book, called The Last President.
Okay.
You can also check this out in the Library of Congress. It's called The Last President.
Now, just to let the audience know, I'm not hearing this for the first time. So sorry. I saw the Facebook post as well, and by the end, I was like, we should definitely research this. So continue. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there.
Oh, anytime, buddy.
So what, am I the
Right,
co-host on the show? Is that what?
We're both co-hosts equally, okay?
That's what a co-host means.
We're together, but we're not together.
I didn't say the host.
We're separate but equal. All right. So The
Horrible
Last
time.
President is about a very wealthy man who lived on Fifth Avenue in New York, who he ran for president, and he wasn't expected to win. That's what the book is about.
That's freaky.
Trump Tower's address is literally on Fifth Avenue. And when he won the presidency in the book, The Last President, when he won, there were riots on New York because nobody expected him to win. They claimed he was cheating and all kinds of stuff. So there were protests in the book in New York about The Last President on Fifth Avenue in a very wealthy house.
Okay.
Which is the same street Trump Tower is on. Okay.
Okay.
And there were protesters about it.
Okay.
And before that, he had a time.
I didn't know the details.
Yeah.
So it
was crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Coincidence.
The president then picks members of the cabinet. One of them by the name of Leif Pence.
Leif Pence?
Yeah.
Like last name Pence?
Last name Pence.
Like vice president?
Yeah, like Vice President Pence.
Okay.
His first name isn't Leif. In the book, it is Leif, but
well, does Leif have a job? He's just a mentor?
He's on the board.
Oh, this is the Last
This
President
is the Last
book.
President still. Yeah, this is the sequel to Barron Trump. It's like
Okay,
the next book
freaky.
he wrote 4 years later. All right.
What's
This
Pence's
happened in,
first name?
The late 1800s.
Do you know what his name even is?
I think it's Mike.
Michael.
Pence.
Okay.
Typical white guy named Michael, Andrew,
Mike.
Jonathan. Insert here.
Jonathan.
Bradley.
All right. Go on. Go on.
All right. So pretty damning evidence there, but it doesn't stop there, and this cycle continues. All right. Here we go. Now, 1943, Nikola Tesla, Rest in peace. Pour some drink on the ground for all my homies out there.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. He died of a blood clot to the brain, okay?
So what now?
He died of a blood clot to the brain. That's how he died.
Yeah.
Blood clot to the brain.
Blood clot. Blunt force trauma by the U.S. government.
Oh, bam.
Bam!
Peanut butter and jam. But I don't know who does this, but on his deathbed, all right, just from a blood clot, he's talking about how he knows time travel. Talking about all that crazy stuff, right? Well, he's like dying, right? Not, can I see my wife? I need to see some of my kids.
Did he have kids and a wife?
I don't know. I don't do enough research for the show. I'm winging this here, all right?
You did...
That's what makes our show great.
Like, does he have kids or a wife? I don't fucking know.
Well, but for whatever reason, he didn't want to make amends or anything like that. His last words were, time travel, time travel, time travel.
I've heard that. I've heard he was spouting it when he was on his deathbed.
Talking about time travel on his deathbed.
Yeah.
Dude's a genius.
I just thought it was because of the blood clot.
Yeah. Was it a blood clot or did he get time travel?
I don't know.
Now, here's what's weird. Now, the U.S. government comes in, takes all of his inventions, specifically the Office of Alien Property. It's literally what their name is. You can Google this. That is the actual office. This is all, fact check it, bro. Fact check it. We're going into the rabbit hole now.
What was it called?
The Office of Alien Property. It's a real government office. They took all of his inventions and papers and journals about it, whatever,
About whatever?
Gotcha. About whatever. I don't know what he talked about. Was he a sensitive guy? I don't know. Was he all business? I don't know. But they took it all, right? They took it all.
Okay.
Then they're like, hey, we need an engineer to come by and we gotta, see if we can decipher any of this stuff on here. So who do they send in? That's some of the greatest engineers of that time.
Also, it's a real place. It's a real department.
It's a real place. You can look this up right now. So they asked to send one of the best engineers that they have to come in and decipher Nikola Tesla's works. Okay. So they bring in a man by the name of...
To read the patents and go over them?
To read the patents, go over them, and to see how things fit together.
Okay.
He was trying to build the Lego tower, okay? But he didn't invent the Legos. He's just trying to figure out how to make the thing.
Got you.
He's trying to figure out how to build the Millennium Falcon out of Legos.
Take the small piece, take the seed, and grow it into the idea.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
He's got the Legos. He doesn't have the instructions. He's just got the Legos and a picture of the Millennium Falcon out of Legos. If that makes sense. Horrible analogy, but keep it.
I get it, yeah.
Okay. So, they send in John G. Trump. Jonald G. Trump? I don't know if Jonald was his real first name, but he happens to be the grandfather of Donald Trump.
Oh, sweet.
Great-grandfather of, you guessed it, Barron Trump.
Okay, so he's the grandfather of Trump himself.
Yeah.
Who lives on 5th Avenue.
Yep.
Okay.
As it is in the books. Very coincidental.
Okay.
All right.
Now we're getting eerie.
That's a little weird, okay? So he goes through, and the U.S. government pays him and sends him in to read everything of Tesla's. And he comes back and says, I didn't find anything.
Wait,
John Trump says he didn't find anything. Now, this is where I can
They gave him the patents, and he goes, no, there's nothing
They
here.
didn't give it to him. They kept it, right? And then they had him look over all of his inventions and papers and everything, trying to see how to get time travel. And he claims he didn't find anything.
Okay, of course he did.
Yeah, but he's got his own
The
Wikipedia
Trumps are
page
notoriously good for people. They love people.
Yeah. Honest to God, if I found
He wouldn't keep anything.
Dude, if I was an engineer and I had to investigate time travel stuff, you better believe I'm keeping that under wraps.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, nothing here. Highlight everything.
First thing I'm doing, I'm having a beer with Teddy Roosevelt. It's my boy. Second thing I'm doing, giving myself $1 million to invest in Instagram before it becomes big. All right? That's what I'm doing. Okay? That's exactly what I'm doing.
Forget Instagram.
I'm going to go Biff from Back to the Future with this. I wouldn't tell anybody anything. I would use it for my own personal gain. All right? I mean, the books are pretty coincidental, right? Like you can't, and they're by the same author.
But that's true. That his
This
grandfather
is all true.
was it.
Look it up on Wikipedia. Type in John G. Trump. It
he
tells
was
you right
hired
there.
to go over these, and he was part of that project.
Now, what if he shared it with his kids? What if he pulled a Biff from Back to the Future?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
and then
goes
didn't tell
back,
anybody
just gets
else
a
but
bunch-
them.
Exactly. Biff's got the almanac. He goes Back to the Future. You've seen Back to the Future.
And if you haven't, it's number 2.
Yeah. Yeah,
not the first one. Second one.
Second one. He goes back in time and he makes money.
That's right, he does. Oh, because that almanac.
The almanac.
The almanac. He goes, oh, what is this? He left it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Now, I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm just saying it is pretty weird.
Well,
you know
and
what
then,
I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and then, so from that, is that all that you had for that, for the Trump section? Because what I found was like the addition, like book 2 of what you just talked about.
That's all I got on that, yeah.
Well, then the other half is then, well, okay, it's 1950, whatever. What were some of these patents that the military hid and then they used? And so I pulled a snippet from a book called Nikola Tesla and the Philadelphia Experiment. So I'll read the snippet after I give you the gist. The Philadelphia Experiment was USS Eldridge for the U.S. Navy. It's a big ship. And the only thing I could find on it that was kind of like, here's some scientific proof, was that for example, in electricity, you can wrap a coil, and when you create that magnetic field, it can do some. I know about inductance and things like that. You can get funky with electricity, copper wire, and then
he invented Wi-Fi before they had light bulbs.
Yeah, well,
that's how smart Tesla was.
Yeah, he could. They tracked that he could wirelessly send electricity over 200 miles.
Mm-hmm. He sent a signal to, I think to France or something, somewhere like that.
Yeah, something they tracked. They go, that's over 200 miles.
You know what the French president said? He said, "Yeah, I totally meant to do that. That was all me." He did.
Goes, oh, that's mine.
People are always stealing Nikola Tesla's ideas. I feel bad for the guy. That is the ultimate Charlie Brown. He goes for the football. That chick, Lucy, moves the football. He falls down. He gets back up and he tries to get that football again.
Well, and like I said, so that's true. He was always known as the nice guy who never finished first,
He invented everything, but he just kept getting stolen from him.
Or denied. Like, that's not going to do anything now. You know what I mean?
Light bulbs.
So,
we've already got light bulbs.
Well, and then so on top of that, so the project involved wrapping the ship in some kind of inductant copper wire. And so what happened is, so the experiment goes, they were trying to test, based on the patents written back in the early 1900s by Tesla, maybe you could combine the two strongest things we have on Earth, which is electromagnetism and gravity. So if you put them together, for example, on that Joe Rogan podcast, there was a ship, a UFO ship that was just beaming places, like light hop. Like light hopping in like Star Wars, you can turn on light speed and turn it off.
Speed.
Now
speed.
Now imagine that in a small distance, but the ship would just pop up on radar, go away, then pop back up. Yeah. So that's not actually moving fast. And
where you're going
hypothetically,
fast enough, you can phase through objects.
It's not necessarily light speed. What it's doing is a lot of these UFOs that they talk about have a gravitational device in the middle. And so a lot of the craft that you see on like UFOs, so we have 3D printing, right? So you can print plastic on different levels, and it's all the same individual piece. Does that make sense? Now, if you do that with a specific type of lightweight metal, and you line up the protons of a heavy or a light metal, then it's one singularity. And if you take that and you have some device that can take, for example, electromagnetism and gravity, put it together, in essence, you can cloak things. It becomes invisible because the gravitational field to our human eye and to the equipment won't pick it up because the light will hit it and bounce away. It won't know that it looks like it's see-through.
So
it's not there.
Gravity to bend light?
Yeah, so the bending of the light gives it the cloaking invisible effect. And they've known that for a while, since like
so the positively charged
protons we have no idea
around the.
So it's like Bob Lazar is a great podcast to watch for Joe Rogan. So the device, he describes the device because he worked on it at.
He has books as well and a movie out.
Oh my god, it's incredible. So it's like a basketball, no wires and none of this, and then there's a material that he described as like placing over the top, and when you placed it without electricity, by the way, it inducted this gravitational field, and it was very small, and so it was so he would describe like you would go to push the basketball in, and you couldn't see it, but it was the gravitational field you were pushing on. You would try as hard as you could. You couldn't. It was like when you take two magnets and you move them together.
Yeah.
So Tesla had the idea, well, if we do that, maybe we could kind of figure that shit out, you know?
Use the polarity. Okay, I see
right.
what you're doing there.
So, and now, another thing is, they did the experiment, and they were able to cloak the ship. Okay, so when they cloaked the ship, then they were like, okay, you can see the ship's gone, which means it created the gravitational field, but in the report, when they merged them together, it then created a sense of, again, it's all hearsay because no one's here to say it. Every member on the ship is in a mental institution. So
this is the ship that
were on the USS Eldridge. They all either they just zipped it, but the ones who were on there, it said most of them are in mental institutions. So the theory goes,
and the Eldridge was the ship that
USS Eldridge. Yep. So say you do it. You cloak the ship, and then when you merge them together, then it says that some of them who are now in a mental institution said that they transported somewhere else. They were teleported somewhere else. Dimensionally, they went somewhere else, and then they came back, which is why they were put in a mental institution.
Now, for those of you who don't know mental illness, for two people to have the same hallucination or manic episode of the same thing,
yeah, that's
pretty rare.
On the same ship, from different walks of life, and they all were like, nope, you guys are all crazy. They're like, yeah, oh, that's the commonality.
And how many were there? How many of them had the same story?
Well, ironically, guess what started popping up back in the 50s after that? UFOs that would just show up and then disappear. I was like, oh, and then that's when the UFO hype started getting. So, and it doesn't baffle me because the first country, right now, that we're gonna hold on to this. If all this information is real, which obviously now that you kind of live every day in technology, you can tell that this shit's like real scientific fact now. Mm-hmm. As a society on planet Earth, that's not going to be released to the public for hundreds of years, and I'll tell you why. We would kill each other. we would kill each other. The first country that comes out and says, "Yep, we have the technology to make a gravitational field, the strongest force in our universe," means when you shoot at something, it's not going to hit it because it's a gravitational field. Your rockets they're going to explode on the out. It's like a force field. You can make a force field. You turn invisible. You harness the strongest force in the universe.
Yeah. And for those of you that think people that see UFOs are crazy, personally, I've never seen one. Chase.
Me neither.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I haven't seen one.
But Jimmy Carter did.
Yeah, I mean,
President Jimmy Carter in 1969 definitely saw a UFO.
And then
he talked about it.
Well, another thing that came out after Bob Lazar was they were missing something. So we can't even replicate it. We just had... So when you make something on a periodic table, it only has to be there for a second. You know, there's no...
The element, yeah.
Yeah. Now, they were able to recreate element 115, which is the element that in its most stable isotope, like, you know, like magnesium stable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain elements that are stable. You can, like, harness it, touch it, see it. If you... The stable isotope of 115 is the fuel for the gravitational device. And so he said that way back when. And then, sure enough, 10, 15 years later, element 115, it's a real thing. They can only see it. We can't recreate the isotope.
And you can timestamp that, too, of when he started talking about element
115
and when they
the whole story of Bob Lazar is bonkers. It's completely bonkers. Like, then the fact that...
I mean, you know, you think this guy's nuts, and then bam, child support.
Well, he wasn't nuts. He was a genius.
He was a pioneer.
Oh my goodness,
a brave son.
Well, so the snippet that I got from this, okay, so what I got, I'm just gonna read the whole thing. What I got from the book. This is just some of Tesla. This is a paragraph of Tesla. So you knew the beginning of these. So it says on February 24th, 1901, Tesla announced he discovered a way to communicate with other worlds on... Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, paragraph. It didn't copy it right. And it said on July 23rd, 1901, he started to work on his world system, which was a transmission station in Wardenclyffe, New York. So, another thing, I was watching Joe Rogan, and I forget what guy it is. He was Dr. something.
That guy. I've heard all about him.
Yeah, the doctor guy. I
Doctor
forgot
who?
he's buff and bald. But anyway, he has a research company who was talking about how you can communicate across the universe.
Yeah.
And so it's not the way, it's not like you can't pick up a phone and call over there because our technology is only based here.
Yeah.
So it's but they describe there's it's weird. It's like, you know the Force from Star Wars? Of course you do. How you can communicate maybe mentally through the Force.
Yeah, which is metachlorians, which your body is made of, makes up all living matter.
Right. Now let's talk about it in the real world. So they were saying that if you get to a spot mentally, whether it's through, some people achieve it through medication, not LSD, but like psychedelic material, like they can take something and they can kind of like, they think they're crazy. But what they'll do is they'll go out to the mountains and they'll have these experiences where they'll just like kind of like meditate.
Like a spirit journey kind of a thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of
Jim Morrison take LSD.
Yeah, so everybody
desert and see God.
Well, they don't. I'm just saying they took like DMT or something.
Yeah.
And you can see this other like it's kind of like out there. You can't really tell what it is, but it's kind of like the feeling you can get.
Yeah.
So
Jim Morrison was known to do that.
So if you meditate and you kind of get your spirit, your aura, however you want to call it, that they call it, into the right zone, then I can talk to you. Like it's a new way, it's a different way of communicating, but it's all based upon like kind of the same theory as the Force.
Now,
We're all
if I was
like,
in the desert or on DMT, could you communicate with me?
Yeah, like you all have to be in the same mindset. It's really hard for humans because at this point in time, just our pure evolutionary biology, we're not there yet. Never.
No.
We're not going to be brain capacity. It's not there yet. But the idea that you can talk through this spiritual channel between living organisms, and that Tesla said that in 1901, and then decided to build this world communication tower, is just beyond me. Tesla's a genius. And then now, 100 years later, we're finding out you can do that. It's still primitive. We can't do it. But now you can kind of prove it a lot better than you could back in 1901 with barely a car. So he had this place. Anyway, so either way, so they sold Wardenclyffe off, it says, to settle Tesla's hotel estate bill. I don't know exactly about that. But it says during World War, Tesla was evicted from Oh, there it is. And during the Second World War, Tesla was evicted from a number of New York hotels for keeping pigeons and other experiments in his room. The exact date of Tesla's death is unknown. He died between January 5th and January 8th in 1943. Immediately after offering a kind of like a construction contract with the U.S. Navy to develop a secret weapon. That's all it was, 1943. It was obviously World War II. They were desperate.
Now.
Yeah, and this is after his death, all of Tesla's surviving work was declared top secret by the FBI, saying all matters connected with the late Nikola Tesla are to be handled in the most secret fashion to avoid publicity in respect of Tesla's inventions, probably because they saw the force field. Probably because they saw the ability to have a gravitational device.
What would you do with a force field?
Honestly, I wouldn't. I don't know. Like
saying you have it for 8 hours. What are you doing with the force field?
I'd rather be invisible for 8 hours. But it's weird because we can't. It's just like, it's just odd. The idea baffles me because it's just we're missing so much. So after I read this paragraph, I got one more thing that'll tie this whole thing.
The octagon fighting ring if I had a
force field.
You bet.
Well, that's the, you can't just walk up to the UFC and be like, I'm bad. And they'd be like, really? And then they just like this. Boom.
I'd be like, I'll take everybody on right now. I can only do it once.
They wouldn't hit you. They'd be like, something's up.
They would try.
They'd be like, something's up with this guy.
Hey, you only got to do it once, and you're set for life.
So to preserve the secrecy of those inventions.
Do it for longer
now, 6 months after his death, the U.S. High Court ruled that the Marconi Company had infringed Tesla's patents. So, in 1943, the U.S. Navy carried out a series of experiments in a Philadelphia dockyard. They used an electrical force field to make the destroyer of the USS Eldridge invisible. Many of the crew ended up in mental institutions, and in 1993,
Like you were
the
saying
U.S.
earlier.
Department of Defense announced it was starting to build an experimental ionospheric research facility in Gakona, Alaska. And I asked you, doesn't weird shit happen in Alaska?
Oh, you bet.
All the time.
You bet.
And then it says the principal patents are
It's the
improvements
last
on
frontier.
the first held by Tesla. These patents are for a method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere. A method and apparatus for creating an artificial electron cyclotron, heating regions of plasma. Don't know what that means. And a method for producing a shell of relativistic particles at an altitude above the Earth's surface.
He could pretty much recreate the ozone layer with that.
Basically. So, but who knows what it's doing to the people of Alaska. Either way, just that paragraph from a book called Nikola Tesla and the Philadelphia Experiment is enough to make me go, okay, what's going on? Now, another reason.
Do Alaskans have force fields?
Well, they wouldn't know. No one would know. I told them, I said 200 to 300 years from now, we might know. Because right now, and this is proven too, I know it was a big thing when I was in like middle school, but a lot of big companies so patents have like 100-year shelf life. And so they basically have a bidding war over these patents. So they'll, like, whether it's, another, like, for example, Ford and General Motors could fight over this new technology for their car, and they won't use it. They'll just hold it for the 100 years. Because
so you can make the most money off of it.
No, but that way they can't have it. So, like, if it's too future, if you can't accomplish the patent yet, say it's theoretical, they're not going to let them have it until they find the technology. They're going to hold it for that long. Maybe they'll work on it, maybe they won't. But that's all up to them. Same with the U.S. government. They just probably took the patents and just stored it away, going like, whenever we achieve this, because then that means Russia can't have it. China can't. That means other people can't have access to it. So like
we
I
don't
said,
have force fields. Nobody can have force fields.
right. So unless it's is that what that which
Except Alaska?
No, Alaska's different. But that's the thing. That's exactly what the U.S. government's doing right now. They took the patents. They're going to keep it until everything's just until we become one as a society. No more war. We can agree on everything, which who knows if that will happen. Then a lot of this information will just be free to the public, because until then, it's just going to be hearsay and on a podcast show, because it's easier that way.
That's nuts.
So so a lot of the stuff that they're hiding is just so no one else can get it, because it could, like I said, that could end everything. If Russia or China had a force field and you can't hit it with anything, you can't shoot it down, you would lose every time. You would lose every time. So it's just the whole idea of this Philadelphia project or experiment.
I'm scared of a Chinese-made force field. I've seen how they make stuff.
It's just freaky because you think of that all as scientific gobbledygook, you know?
Yeah.
And then you keep the deeper in the rabbit hole you go, and the more resources. Like, the only reason we have this is because Joe Rogan has these resources, this popularity, the viewership to have people come on and can explain all of this. So, but that all stems to getting away from, corporations taking over. They have a bunch of big money. They control the world. So once we start to get more away from big money controlling things like this, then we all become better. We all become, I think it gets more towards the one society type, I don't know. It'd be a lot easier, a lot peaceful.
But they do have good inventions now, yeah?
Yeah. But imagine, it'd be
CRISPR
like,
or whatever?
It's crazy. So like we have phones, we have the internet, we have a bunch of this stuff that we can do and that we have. But the idea of knowing that's just like this much out of like, the size of this room of information is nuts. And I know this is kind of a tangent because we're talking about Tesla now, but all of this stemmed from this Barron Trump story, because in the story it talked about him working with Tesla's patents.
Yeah, in real life, Donald Trump's grandpa worked with Tesla's
Oh,
patents.
yes.
I mean, when you do that, when you go back in time and biff it,
Like do the almanac and do that?
Yeah. and nobody would know but you.
I don't know. To be honest, I thought
What
about
if we
it.
went back enough in time and convinced that guy to write a book? What?
Tesla?
I don't know.
Tesla wrote
think
books.
that if they
Tesla
were
wrote
gonna,
a lot of books, I think.
there's a lot of coincidences there, but if I was going to time travel, I wouldn't write a book about it.
No?
I wouldn't be that cocky. I wouldn't want anybody to
I'd
know.
write a book, but I'd label it science fiction so I could publish it.
You think you would?
Yeah.
Be that ballsy?
Because then people think it's science fiction. And then you kind of be like, no, it's just a story. And then later on, you could be like, your deathbed, be like,
That's pretty ballsy, yeah.
be like, it's true. And then
Time travel exists.
Time travel so much.
Time travel.
I can talk to other planets. Oh, Tesla, what'd you say? It's the blood
I have
clot.
the cure for cancer. I can time travel, and I got the cure for AIDS.
I know the answer.
Today's lotto numbers are. Revive
We were
him.
so close.
Send him a doctor.
But no, because like I don't know.
Dashers.
I might do that. I might biff it. Who knows? But that's even a bad thing to say.
If you you wrote a book on it though.
Isn't
You'd
that
have to have some serious balls to do that though.
Yeah,
Like,
you would.
Oh, you know what? Not only can I do this, I'm gonna rub your face.
But
in
we
it.
don't know. Did he have kids? Have a wife? I don't think
I
so.
mean, this was hundreds of years before.
I'm pretty sure he
Donald
was just
Trump
dedicated to doing the research.
That's crazy.
But anyway, that story just blew my mind. So
It's
look at that. We're at the scientific Joe Rogan level with this stuff.
We are. And today on Science News, they talked about a tool called CRISPR. Something that's
yeah.
actually here now.
That's right. I do have
Some
that.
good information right now is you can actually, splice your genes.
Do you want to change your? This is the commercial. Do you want to change your DNA? Are
Have
you
you ever
sick of
wanted
blonde
to?
hair?
Do you want to be taller?
Do you want to be muscular?
You can be more muscular.
Yeah. Well, get the CRISPR.
The CRISPR.
Yeah.
It's spelled just like it sounds. Crisp. But
It's
with
all
an R at the
caps,
end.
too.
There's no E.
CRISPR. Now, it's called the genetic scalpel. So, now,
Sounds safe.
yeah, it sounds super safe. Let's just cut up my DNA. Let's just do it.
Right.
But so you found the CRISPR, but you can splice DNA. So
I can actually, Johns Hopkins, I believe, yeah? They're actually doing it right now with
That's
cancer cells, isn't it?
yeah, they're doing it for cancer. So the good news is they're using it for good, not for evil.
For now.
For now, but everything's a double-edged sword. It could be good now, but then
I'm telling you, if in 50 years everybody starts looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
oh no,
That's haberdasheries.
oh no.
You know, everything's fine. They're curing cancer, and the next thing you know, bam! Child support. You know, everybody looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and everyone's got cancer.
Oh,
You
they
never
don't-
know.
It's weird. People, I think they all look like Brad Pitt in Fight
And
Club.
this one's gonna, yeah.
Abs, like the toned body. Everybody
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I just want to eat whatever,
You need
work
whatever you
out,
want, look perfect.
just splice your DNA up.
All the girls are gonna look like Jennifer Aniston.
Well,
They're gonna be like 80 and
It's
never age.
Superman, which you hate. That's
Fucking
what I was
hate
trying
Superman.
to say. This is like Superman, because remember in nerd tangent. Remember in Superman, they have the pods of the children on his planet. They
Yeah.
don't birth them anymore. They grow them, and they're grown with like specific tasks. Like you're gonna do this job, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. But before that, they were like explorers and conquerors and like a really good society. And then they got away from it and got more towards this. When I heard the CRISPR, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, where's that
For
from?
those of you who don't
Superman.
know, the people on Superman's planet, the Kryptonians,
Kryptonians.
they don't have any of Superman's powers because they have the red sun, yellow sun that we have here on Earth. That's what gives him his powers.
yeah,
He's too overpowered. That's why I don't like Superman. Team Luther, baby. All the way. Gotta represent. Superman's a madman.
It's only
No,
because
he's
you
a
guys were
menace.
both
He's a
bald
menace.
at one point.
He's a menace. Menace to society.
But he's a good guy.
I don't care. He can do everything. He's faster than Flash. He's stronger than anybody. The physics behind it alone. If I'm falling from a building, I don't want Superman to catch me. I would literally turn into soup.
You're like, you got me.
There'd be a puddle of Wayne just sitting there, and you get it on your shoe, and you just take me with you. I don't know. The impact alone, it's ridiculous. He can clone himself in the movies. He's got ice breath. He can
It
do
is
everything
hilarious.
But, read minds, and he can even hear your heartbeat, tell if you're lying.
It'd be like if me and you were trapped in this room and I had that whiteboard behind you, and I was like, what can we come up with? Maybe we're like, what can we?
You know what I think it is?
Ice breath.
You know what I think it
super
was?
strong. Can fly. Super fast.
You know what I think it really was, though? Honest
What?
to God. I think it was like, when you're, I don't know, like 6 and you're trying to create your own superhero. You're just like, yeah, well, my guy's super strong. Yeah, well, mine can fly. Oh, yours can fly? Yeah, my super's going to burn yours with fire. Nuh-uh, mine's got ice breath.
Mine can do all of those.
Well, yeah, but there's only one. He can't be everywhere. Guess what? He can multiply now. There's more of them. He can do that. And the other kid's like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to put everything, hide it away, so you can't ever see it. Well, guess what? Now I got x-ray vision. How's it going to help you? You still can't open the box. Guess what? Now he's got heat vision. Guess what?
You got to keep going. I was like, we only got 20 minutes.
These are all of his powers. Come on, man.
And it only comes from
mine's
what?
Gonna lie to you, so you never find out what it is. Oh yeah. Well, my superhero, he can hear your heartbeat. That's what he can do. Yeah. Well, mine's gonna be super fast, so you never catch him. You gotta hear him lying. Oh yeah. Well, mine's gonna be faster, and he's gonna be the fastest person ever. Oh yeah. Well, that's how it starts. That's how you got Superman.
Well, and the funny thing is, it's like, okay, what's the difference? It's like, oh, nothing. He's just on another planet with a bigger sun, different rays, and I'm like, that's it?
That's it.
That's all that makes him Superman? That's it?
Now, if you want to get technical about it, if the red light dampens his powers, right? It's red rays, right?
Yeah.
Still a red sun.
Because they're the red sun, yeah.
If he was in a red room, if you just had red light bulbs in your house.
Well, that's different.
Oh, how is it different? How is it different, Chase?
It's not the light.
You're no longer in contact with the yellow sun if you're in a completely blacked out room with red lights.
Oh, you mean like if you put him in just a room?
No power. Why don't they ever think of that?
Because then you'd probably kill Superman.
You wouldn't kill him. You'd make him immortal.
You'd be able to kill him.
Yeah, Roxanne, put out a red light. If you literally just put on a red light and closed your windows, he couldn't have any access to the yellow sun anymore.
You can put him, but the key is to getting him down there.
You keep him in a basement. You get away the door.
Wait, but you got to get him in the basement.
You got to get him in the. How hard will it be for? You know what I heard? Gee golly, I heard that Lois Lane's at the bottom of a basement for whatever reason. Maybe she's being held by the condiment king. Stupidest villain ever.
I thought the exact same thing.
And you know what? He's gonna be like, oh, how about Asher? I gotta, oh, George, and then he's gone, right? Next thing you know, bam, child support. He's got no more powers. He's been in the basement. You trapped him in there. You concrete it. You have contractors come in there and they pour concrete over it every day. And then next thing you know, he's can't get out in the sun anymore. Red light drains him of his power.
He has to eat, technically.
Can he? You ever see Superman eat?
Does he?
I don't know. Why would he have to?
What the?
He just needs sunlight.
Did that just turn off? You got to be kidding me. You can keep talking.
Hold on. Technical difficulties.
No, you're good.
Take 2. A marker.
Audio's still on. Press camera to activate.
I gotta refill my dootski.
Oh, it did. It turns off after 30 minutes. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited. But anyway, that's Cap. But anyway, that's what I was getting at. So there we go. We got him. He's good. No, you're fine. I was gonna say that's where I got the concept, the idea showed up in my head. I was like, oh, because once you start getting into like this area of genetic splicing, yeah, you're doing it for cancer. Maybe you're doing it for Alzheimer's. Maybe you're doing it for a noble cause. But then you're going to get into the area that every human gets into, which is being human. Okay? You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I have millions of dollars. Maybe I want a designer baby. And then you can just design your child via DNA splicing. You know what I mean? Like, you're okay, what do you want? Blue eyes. Maybe I want some brown hair. Maybe some like tan skin. And make sure he has good metabolism. Like, you know what I mean? You start creating.
Red hair, but not the red hair attitude. That's what I want.
Well, it's like then you start getting into an avenue of like I told you, it's like you're playing God at that point. And
it is.
But again, and it says here in the article that they only have, so they have 190,000, which is a lot, targetable sequences of DNA they can manipulate. So which is about 40%. So at 2020, they can manipulate 40% of you with this CRISPR. So, yeah,
you can have redheads without the attitude. Please make that a thing.
Wasn't the attitude that makes them, A little
You
fight
ever dated a
stealer.
redhead?
Nope.
I date predominantly redheads. Redheads they're great people, you know. As Jason and I have discussed, for whatever reason, they're either hot or they're ugly. There's no average-looking redhead out there. Think about it, all right? But on top of that, they're known to snap at any moment. You never know when it's like a bomb going off.
I thought that was just a rumor.
No, I've dated plenty of redhead. My little brother's redheaded. He's a good kid. He's 8, by the way. Love you, Rooster. You're my boy. But yeah, he can just be feisty. You never know what's going to happen next. And it's fun. But if they had like a brunette's intelligence with like red hair that makes it exotic, that's all I would use gene splicing for.
But like it just
I'd make the perfect redhead.
But the farthest you could go is Kryptonians. They wouldn't birth children anymore. They wouldn't have to go through it. They would just design them. They would make them specific to whatever they're going to do. And then they're in these little pods. And then these robotic creatures take care of them. And then pop them out when they're fully grown. And then you have a baby. That's exactly why I saw the most extreme version when I saw this.
I think it'd be more like super soldier kind of thing, you know?
Oh,
like
just
Captain
designed.
Marvel. Yeah.
You mean
walk
Captain
in there and
America?
You're all, yeah. You walk in there, you're all just...
My name is Neville Schneebly, and I'd like I'm the smart person. I
That's
just
from
want to be
School of
big.
Rock.
You know? Neville Schneebly? Is it? I don't know. It sounds like a loser name. I'm sorry if your name is actually
Schneebly.
Neville Eugene Schneebly.
Schneebly.
Schneebelstein. Majel, whatever. I don't know. Schneebel.
That's
I don't
hilarious.
know. But if you were that guy, just some little scrawny,
Oh, man.
you know, my glasses.
Ned?
Where
Oh
are
no,
my
his name's
glasses?
Ned Schneebly. Ned Schneebly.
Maybe. It definitely sounds nasally.
No, that's his legit name. His
Is it?
name's Ned Schneebly in
Oh,
School of
I'll be
Rock.
damned. It's a good movie.
But anyway, the idea that you
then
can
he goes in there and he comes out, you know, looking like Brad Pitt, you know. Change 40% of him, he's still smart. But, you know, now he just says bro a lot and he has a bunch of protein shakes constantly.
I don't.
and-
That's the thing too. Would it be immediate? I don't think you would just go from like
what
fat
I read,
to
it
skinny.
only takes 30 seconds to splice that DNA.
Well,
How long
yeah,
it takes
but-
to affect, I got no clue.
Yeah. Like I mean, it's not. You're not going to go from like big to skinny immediately.
Oh, it
But
takes
your
6 months, but that'd be worth it.
Yeah, but your metabolism is going to kick in. You're going to be like, boom. I don't know about the eyes, but
Yeah, short man syndrome would go away. Everybody would be my height.
I figure certain things would happen like that, but other ones you'd have to, it'd take a hot minute.
See, I believe in the wabi-sabi principle. That's why I don't like this gene splicing thing for anything like that. The
Wabi-sabi.
wabi-sabi principle is ancient Chinese philosophy. It's part of a Buddhist principle, really. And it says that something's flaws make it beautiful, all right?
Yes.
Marilyn Monroe, considered the most attractive person on the planet. She's got a mole. Who thinks moles are hot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good
see,
call.
I don't. Marilyn Monroe? She's aight. I don't like skinny broads, but she's good looking with that mole. You know, there's something about her. The crack in the Liberty Bell. All right? Who's like, oh man, this is a symbol of everything we believe in. And it has a crack in it.
Mm.
But that just makes it cool, you know?
Yeah, the crack makes it meaningful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's the wabi-sabi principle. Something's flaws make it perfect. And I think that you eliminate that when you go through the gene splicing thing.
Well,
How are people going to embrace their flaws?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess a lot of that stuff that we like.
If
Yeah, a
everybody's
lot of the
perfect, what's
flaws that you
point?
see. Yeah,
If everybody's perfect, what's the point in trying to be different?
exactly.
What's the
I
point
feel like
of
we
being
get.
your own man?
I know we'd probably get sick of it, but at the time, you'd be like, I can engineer my child. You know what I mean? It'd be a huge thing for a while. Maybe it'd die off later, but I figured it'd catch on super, super quick. It'd be like the next thing that all the celebs do with their children. They already do it now. Kim K has surrogates that. No? You didn't know about this?
No.
Kim K doesn't want to affect her body anymore, so she has a surrogate who carries her child with the DNA of Kanye West and her. And they turkey-based her with the embryo, and then that's how a surrogate
Well,
works.
then what do they do with the surrogate mom's embryo? Like her DNA? They just like, oh, cut
They
it out.
they just use her as like she's like the hot pocket, but their ingredients are on the inside. Oh. That sounded-
that is the
That sounded so bad. I'm hungry, dude. I'm so
literally bam child support. That's how that works. Oh my god.
And they paid the surrogate
If they
a
break
hefty
up-
fee.
If they break up, does he still pay alimony to the original mother?
Oh no, she's just the sleeping bag.
Just the fries. You went to hamburger,
She's just
baby.
a sleeping bag.
You're the side piece. You the fries. We want the hamburger.
But that's exactly where I see that going immediately. I'm just there like, oh my gosh, we don't even want to have to like hire the surrogate. We'll just design it. Oh, that'd be horrible. And you don't have to do any of the hard work. You don't. Well, not hard work of having sex. I'm just saying that you don't have to carry it. You don't even have to like see what it's gonna be like. You know, you're gonna be like, I know exactly where it's coming from. You over there. You know, hey Danielle, hi surrogate, and then it's gonna be a baby you designed, maybe on the computer. Who knows? You're like, oh, I want this. How much? Pay the money, and then go to the clinic, have them design everything, put it in the embryo, take the embryo, put it in your surrogate. Next thing you know, Kim K and Kanye have a designer baby. Bingo, bango. They already call their children designer babies now.
What, one of them's name is Northwest or something like that?
Yep, it is. I think it's Northwest.
That's the look that you have when you smell a fart in the elevator, but there's only two people, and it wasn't you.
You're like, ooh. But those things are nuts in itself. And I honestly, I don't know why I do it. Every single time, I'm always like, I wonder if that's true. You know, because it's like you're bred to believe like, oh, there's no way. And the next thing you know, you're like, maybe it's true. maybe it's true.
Does that mean ugly people are going to be more sought after?
No.
If everybody looks the same and they're perfect with these designer things or whatever, if everybody looks exactly the same or whatever, they all look perfect. Maybe the ugly people, the ugly ducks, you know, they're going to be like, oh man, that is so rare. Look at that. He's so horrible to look at. I love it. Then
no.
You got people like Danny DeVito.
No, but it means you'd be less in society because you can't afford to be genetically altered. It means your parents couldn't afford to fix you.
Yeah, but it means you're authentic.
Yeah, but they're not going to see that.
You call it poor. I call it authentic.
Right, there's going to be few that think it's authentic.
You have like a marketing term.
Just like we like.
You're not ugly. You're original.
But we like country, like the idea of country living, right?
Oh, definitely.
Booyah. No one else likes that in society. They want the big house, the rich cars, all that stuff. Everybody.
I'll take the cars.
You have to, but you have to get to a point where you're like, you know what? I appreciate the quiet, nice country sunsets. You know, that's where you have to get. And until they get there, you're going to be the person who's like, wait, you don't want any of this stuff? Well, then you're below me. That happens now. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But
that means in 150 years, Danny DeVito could be sought after like a model. They'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody's so attractive.
They're going to be like, oh my gosh, remember watching Danny DeVito?
Anymore, you know?
Who? You see that now? Do you see a 4'11" man walking around?
You see that now, yeah, but I mean, in 150 years, nobody's 4'11".
I've never seen anyone who's 4'11" man who's 4'11".
Everybody's shorter than me, for the most part. You weird, like 20% of people are taller than me.
That's so
that
weird.
freaks me out.
I bet it does. You 6'3"
It's weird.
giant.
It's weird.
Blessed to be average height.
But I'm gonna be small. In 150 years, everybody's gonna be 7 foot.
You're gonna be just alternate. We all play basketball. Like, okay.
Basketball players are 9 feet.
I brought my own scoop.
Oh man.
But anyway, I don't like that. I don't like it because then I saw a similar article the next day or today that says they've now invented the brain chip, so a processing chip for like devices. And I showed you it can memorize images longer, like stored memories. It's smaller than like this big, and it used to be just software that ran some of the AI process. Now you have a physical device that has like silicone neurons in there that are connected like a brain would be. And it's so small. They can do it so small now. So not only can you program it with AI software, like a brain, but now it's physically a brain, just with like silicone and copper and aluminum all woven together like synapses in your brain. So this isn't going very good. None of this is good. We have artificial babies, okay? The Terminators are coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Terminators are going to be a thing.
Hey, Barron Trump, pull a John Connor. Warn us, buddy, okay?
That movie was horrible.
What?
John Carter?
John Connor, bro.
Oh, Connor from the Terminator.
Yeah.
I never got the time travel in those.
You never understood it?
No.
John Connor goes back in time to warn humanity about the Terminator. Okay, about how
Wait,
bad
who
they
invented
can
time
be.
travel?
Huh?
Who invented the time travel? Was it
Skynet.
Oh, so Skynet invented time travel.
Skynet invented time travel.
The Terminator bad guys. See, I know.
But a couple of them were good. The older models can be used to protect you.
Oh. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger's the T-800. Baddest thing to hear in the movie. You're like, whoa.
That guy on the motorcycle, that biker metal cop, liquid metal cop, I'm like, oh man, I would not want one of them coming after me.
In Terminator,
the dagger arms and the...
Have you noticed they got weaker as the villains went on? They were like have you seen the new Terminator, the Genesis? Or not that one. It was the one where Sarah Connor's really old. It came out like last year.
No.
Okay. The villain looks like he's a Latino looking guy who's really small and he wears a button up polo shirt. And I go, who's Greg and why is he the bad guy? I would call him Greg. He's a small, frail little guy who just stands there like this.
Yeah.
You're not going to get past me.
Neville Eugene Schneebel.
He is. And it just went from like, okay, you had badass villains.
Schneebelheimer.
And then they just got like, they were like, we'll just make them weaker even though they're really tough. And then it's like it's a cruel joke.
Terminator? He was the Terminator, or was he like the inventor of Skynet?
Who?
That Greg guy. Was he a Terminator, or was he like the...
No, in the new movie, he's a Terminator. He's like the best model, the best they've ever made. And I'm like, this dude's like, he's like 5'8", skinny little guy, probably 130 pounds. You know what I mean? And he's got a nice white with blue stripe button up and some slacks. Like, who's Greg?
That's scary.
I was like, oh my gosh, Sarah Connor, what are you gonna do?
Well, Chadwell and I are throwing a boating party later on our yacht. Would you care to join us, Jameson? Okay?
Just kidding.
We're all going to be there. But, it's a party to...
He might have had boating shoes on.
die for.
He might have had boating shoes. It's like, are those Sperry's? Hey, they're very popular back in the future. But, anyway, it's just not getting any better. I want society to go back to thinking about the simple stuff. You know why? Because we're simple.
Yeah, you know what? Henry David Thoreau said it best. All right, he's one of my favorite authors, all right? He said his most memorable quote, the best one I like, is simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. All right. Now, who was Henry David Thoreau? He was a lawyer. He was some kind of big guru stock market of some kind. He was a big financial person.
I would look it up, but I think my internet messed up.
And he's over there like, you know what? No. Like, this guy's making bank. He's got a successful life. Just walks off the train when they stop at a park, Walden Park. And he just goes and he lives out in the woods. For years, he just roughs it. Claims to have found internal peace.
Mercy. Well, yeah, I feel like that. If you get older, I feel like that's what you...
Got rid of everything, man, just to live out in the woods.
I feel like that's what you go for. It's weird.
Simplify to be happy, man.
It was, because imagine being 16. What'd you want at 16? I was like, I'm going to be this business. I'm going to have so much stuff. I'm going to just never get bored. Have this big house.
I was going to be a rock star. Or on Jackass. There was no plan B.
And we're doing plan B now. But every 16-year-old's like, I'm gonna be so rich, I'm gonna get so much money. And then as I developed into an adult and realized life's hard out here, it made me wish for just moments. I wish I could have appreciated that moment a lot better. And then now
I never thought I'd be rich. I just thought people would know me. I was already working like 2 jobs all through high school. You know what I mean?
Well, I was at work too. I just was like, I do not want to do this, And I was like, I'm just going to make something and make a ton of money and never do it again. Thinking the easy way out. But now as life goes on, you get out of your 20s, and I'm like, man, it's hard out there. Everything takes work. It's a daily practice. But when you appreciate that daily practice, then I also, in turn, appreciate the simple stuff. Then I'm just like grass, sunset, me and my son, moments like that you can appreciate. Yeah. Watching a movie. Like that simple stuff means a whole lot more. Shut up.
I had to throw. I just bought my first motorcycle yesterday.
I'm sorry. I got some stuff to do first.
Yeah. See, he's got kids. I don't. Okay, so I can
I
buy
don't
a
have kids.
Harley Davidson.
I have one kid. Thank goodness.
He looks just like you. Tell me you didn't gene splice him.
Maybe.
He really does.
40% of that is just pure gene.
Take away his beard, make him shorter, and you've got his son. Okay?
It's true.
That's Madden. Tattoos and everything match up.
That's right. He has this one. But
I don't have kids, so I can have a Harley Davidson. It's a Sportster, and I got a hell of a deal. Thank you, Kenny, for selling that to me. Thank you, Frog, for teaching me how to ride it. You're my boys. This one's for you.
I figured it was kind of similar. It's just like like I said, I used to ride those clutch 4-wheelers at Man's mom's house, and then they were like, it's kind of like that, but you got 2 wheels, and it kind of moves you forward instead of 4. So you don't, because on a 4-wheel you don't have to worry about balance because you're already on 4 wheels. This one you have to worry about balance. So it's like a motorized bike that you have to go forward on.
It's not like a bicycle. For me, it's more like a jet ski, like a wave runner.
Ever
and a
been on
4-wheeler had a baby with 2 wheels. I don't know. It's weird.
Excellent.
Like, you ever had a wave runner? You ever rent one and go out and just?
No.
It's like that. It is like it's scary. It pumps adrenaline, and it's calming all at the same time. I don't know why. It's great.
Well, that you describe the feeling every biker tells me I should get a bike for. It's calm, but it's also exhilarating, and it's also peaceful. I'm like, how do those mesh together?
It's scary.
Scary, yeah.
I don't know how to put it.
They're like, you could almost die at any moment. I'm like, oh, great.
But it's chill as fuck. I don't know how to put it.
Like, you're really
Get a
selling
bike.
me on this. You're really selling me on this, people. But
Get you a Vespa. Get you something. Get you a little scoot.
But no, that's all I had for like I wanted to, like I said, I'm glad we went really in depth because this was a good science episode, but
This was.
I didn't have anything science related other than that.
We could debate comic books if you guys are into it. Or should we save that for the next episode?
We can't, but I had that. But either way, I just didn't know if there's anything you wanted to talk about in pop culture or with the riots or with society. I didn't know if there's anything you needed to.
I don't really watch the news much or read it. I just kind of.
Well, good. You're saving yourself from a lot of bull.
I stay under my rock. I play my guitar. I just stay at home. Barely wear clothes. I just do me.
Well, that's why I like independent journalists because they don't have to worry about being on TV or ratings or doing what a big corporation says. That's another big thing too. Once you realize that the actual people who drop everything go cover a story and put it on the internet, right, and have the freedom to do so, is way more valuable than people who depend on money to keep a news station afloat.
Yeah, nobody's paying us.
Yeah.
Yet.
And so yeah. But even then, we pull Joe Rogan. I'd be like, I'm gonna eat shit forever. I'm never selling this to anybody. If you like it, it means we're doing something right. And if you're trying to take it from me, then you want to do something wrong with it.
If Barron Trump wants to send me billions of dollars just to not have this episode, I'll consider it.
We'll consider it.
I'll consider it.
But then we'll put a follow-up episode that says, haha, guess what we got paid to do?
Guess how I made billions of dollars, and I'll tell you how you can do it too. Will be the new spam on YouTube. Gene splicing.
Oh yeah. Well, my son, he can fly. He's got he can catch people without turning them out of soap when they fall. And you know what? He can run real fast. He can fly real fast. And you know what?
Is that Maddie? He just talks about superheroes all the time.
That's what you take away from it. Superman is overpowered. And Barron Trump can potentially time travel.
Listen, Superman's impossible
Those are
to
the
beat.
main points. Have designer babies. Barron Trump could potentially time travel. Time travel. And Superman's overpowered.
There you go.
Those are the 3 main
Catchy
points.
title. Deal. Well, that's all I got.
Damn, child support.
I wanted to make this one just me and you just like taking a science fiction stuff together. Making this. That's just neat. Okay. So here we go. I'm sorry. I don't know how to change the setting. All right. Either way, I'm good.